Good evening. My name is Dr. Salah. I'm the proud superintendent of the Huron Valley Schools, and I just want to thank everybody who's out there in our listening audience that had the opportunity to join us for our junior kindergarten informational meeting. We're very excited to have you all here, and we look forward to hopefully serving you in the future and serving your children throughout their K-12, their junior kindergarten through 12 experience. So I think you'll find this evening to be very, very beneficial. We're going to answer a number of questions. Should you still have questions, as we are concluding the presentation, please don't hesitate to add those questions in the chat, in the live stream chat area, and we will be sure to monitor and answer those questions as we proceed through. So, as I think about the graduating class of 2035, I just am remiss if I don't tell you just a little bit about my own experience. My oldest child is a junior in high school. And I remember, parents, when I was I was actually sitting in an actual building. While we're doing this virtually, I was sitting in a building, but still, nevertheless, you get the point. And I have to tell you, 2035 is going to come sooner than you expect. The time just flies, and I just want to encourage you to enjoy every minute of that experience and really think about how important it is to advocate for your children to ensure that they have a high quality educational experience. I know that the entire staff within the Huron Valley Schools community is dedicated to ensuring that we help you and provide that quality learning experience for your children. It will go quick, but take the time to enjoy every second. So, as we proceed on, I think it's important to note that our mission and our vision in the Huron Valley Schools is something we take very serious. Our mission is inspiring and building futures one student at a time, because we don't believe that there's a cookie cutter approach or a one size fits all approach to educating each child. And so recognizing that and having a vision that thinks through a successful future for all students, I want you to know that that's our commitment to you, that we want to inspire and build the futures of your children independently and as a group, and we want to envision a successful future for all of our students. And it's important because that's not an easy task. Those aren't just words. Everyone that's on this call right now really believes that and works every single day to ensure that we inspire and build futures for each one of the students that we serve. Junior kindergarten is one of those examples. This is an example of an initiative or a program that does not exist in every school district across the state of Michigan. I will tell you, it's actually somewhat of a rarity, and recognizing that some students need a little bit more time. And so that's one way that we have differentiated our delivery model as a school district. The junior kindergarten program started back in the year 2016 and 17, and many of the people that you will hear from and see on this call this evening were some of the founding individuals that helped build this curriculum and build this program. And they have invested so much time and energy in being thoughtful and to doing this work the absolute right way. And it's paid off. It's paid off tremendously. And the proof really is in the numbers. It's in all of you who continue to talk about the junior kindergarten program with other families and share your experiences, because that's what's driving the interest and the enrollment. And just to give you some context, this year we had 7 classrooms, including our virtual academy, and that represented about 84 students. Today, as of the broadcast of this message, we have 98 families that have already expressed interest. On a typical year, we're usually around 60 that have expressed interest at this point. And so that tells me, as superintendent, we are doing something really well here, and it's working for our families. So if you're interested, please don't hesitate to sign up and learn more and pursue what I think you'll find to be a very successful experience. And so One last thing I'll mention before I turn it over to Mr. Tavernier, our Assistant Superintendent for Teaching, Learning, and Technology, is that, recently the district was successful in passing a $200 million bond and sinking fund initiative. And what that means is those dollars are exclusively dedicated to upgrading our facilities from a safety and security perspective to enhancing our educational programs and our physical infrastructure. You are coming in at the very beginning of that work. Therefore, your children are going to reap the benefits for their entire JK through 12 experience. It's just a really exciting time for the Huron Valley Schools. So we're going to show you a short video, and then you're going to hear from Mr. Tavernier. Thank you, and have a wonderful evening.
From junior kindergarten, where students have extra time to learn and grow, to elementary school, where individual needs are met in an inclusive setting with dedicated teachers. From middle school, where students engage in digital technology and pre-engineering, to high school, where robust academics, athletics, and arts programs allow students to learn a trade and earn college credit. We are Huron Valley. Schedule a visit. Have a closer look. hvs.org.
Well, good evening, everyone, and thanks for joining us. We are thrilled to have you become a part of the Huron Valley family. For those parents that are returning to Huron Valley this evening with interest in our JK program, we welcome you back as well. We truly are excited about the junior kindergarten program in Huron Valley. As Dr. Salah mentioned, I'm John Tavernier. I'm the Assistant Superintendent of Teaching, Learning, and Technology. And as we are continuing to practice with delivering virtual learning and virtual orientations this evening, we appreciate you joining us on YouTube and working with us as we go through tonight's presentation. There are several individuals on the call here this evening. I'm not going to go through everyone's name, but we'll let them introduce themselves as we go through the presentation. And I just want you to know that this team is fully, hang on just one second, get through. We watched that video already, but I'll let everybody introduce themselves. We have junior kindergarten teachers on this evening, and we have administrators. We have some representatives from our pupil services department that are going to talk through the enrollment process as well. So let me see if I can get this presentation back up. There we go. So junior kindergarten. Junior kindergarten is really about, oh, we move back. There we go. Really about a 2-year kindergarten experience. And we want to emphasize that junior kindergarten is an opportunity for students that may need additional time based on readiness for entering kindergarten. It's an experience that will benefit all students for that additional time. It's based on the kindergarten standards, but it provides students additional time to experience and engage with the content within the kindergarten curriculum. It's a full 5-day program. It has students in JK have access to our art, our music, and our physical education classes as well. It follows the same calendar as our HVS calendar. It's housed in our elementary buildings, and it's at no cost to families. I want to make sure I get to the right, here we go, at no cost to families. It's really about extra time. We know that some students will benefit from that additional time with engaging with social emotional learning and with content and with curriculum and building relationships with students and friends and teachers. And so we're really excited to offer this program to our families. I'm going to turn it over to, I believe, Linda Lajavic, who's a JK teacher in the district. And Linda is going to talk to you about a little bit more detail about the academics and social emotional supports within our JK program. Linda?
Good afternoon. Good evening, everyone. I could teach all day in front of children and it doesn't faze me, but I'm really shy when it comes to adults. So I'm going to do my best to not trip over my words. I have a script here. I just want to speak a little bit about the junior kindergarten program and the gift of time. You often hear that a lot, according to JK or NJK. The district had a vision 4 years ago about starting the junior kindergarten program. And giving your children the gift of time is a phrase that we use a lot, and it just simply means to give your child an extra year to enjoy being a child. Your child will benefit from an extra year to enjoy learning what school is really all about, the procedures, the routines, the curriculum, the busyness of a day. Junior kindergartners have the opportunity to grow and mature at their own pace through lots of structured and unstructured play experiences. Junior kindergartners will experience a kindergarten curriculum designed to be learned in a hands-on way. We spend our year together immersed in engaging literacy, math, science, and social studies activities without kindergarten pressures. As our expectations of kindergartners has increased, so too has the need for a JK program. Not all children are ready for a rigorous kindergarten curriculum. We slow the experience down in junior kindergarten so that the children won't feel overwhelmed. Some children just need more time to master letters, sounds, and numbers, and that's perfectly okay. I can think of no better gift to give a child than to give the gift of time. It's an experience more precious and more rewarding than anything you will ever give to them. In JK, we lay the foundation for a successful school career. We teach the children to love books, numbers, and each other. In JK, we learn how to ask for help, how to take turns, how to cooperate, how to encourage a friend, how to set a goal or relish a challenge. Our days are slowed down enough to enjoy these luxuries that children may not have gotten through a preschool year. Or maybe your child just might benefit from more of it. Heaven knows that we can all do with a little bit less stress in our lives, even our children. Our targeted students, those born between September 1st and December 1st, may be at a different stage than their older peers. Even a few months when you are 5 years old can make a huge difference in your ability to focus, control your impulses, or to work through struggles. We don't offer JK so that your child will be the smartest child in kindergarten or to give them an athletic advantage when they're in high school. We want to give the gift of time because we want our students to be equipped with the social and emotional tools that they will need before entering a school world that functions at a much faster pace than it did when we were kids. Kindergarten isn't what it used to be. Your child has his or her whole academic life ahead of them. Give your child the joy of being little for just a little while longer. Imagine sending your child off into the world after graduation. Imagine them in college, in the midst of dorm life at MSU. Would you feel better knowing that they were 18 or 19? Brains continue to grow and develop until the age of 25. Good decision-making happens in the frontal cortex of the brain, and it's the very last part of the brain to mature. I've never once had a parent tell me that they regretted the decision to give their child an extra year. They all say the same thing, that it was the best decision that they could have made for their child. Many wistfully say that they wish that they could have experienced JK as a child themselves, or that they wish that this program had existed when their other children were this age. A JK year can mean the difference of success and liking school versus struggling and possibly having difficulty in school. A quality junior kindergarten education is a gift of extra time to acquire necessary skills, exercise higher levels of self-control, and to feel secure and confident when entering kindergarten. I hope you will choose junior kindergarten in Huron Valley. We love it, and we know you will too. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to Meredith Richter.
Thank you, Linda. Our Early Childhood Task Force created our standards by looking at the state standards for early childhood and kindergarten and created our standards to meet somewhere in the middle point between early childhood standards and the kindergarten standards. Our two-year kindergarten program focuses on many of the skills that are learned in the first half of kindergarten. The wonderful thing about our program is that it affords us the opportunity to take our time to meet the needs of the students where they are currently functioning and move them forward from there. This is their gift of time. Here we can take things slow or move faster. We can gauge our instruction based on the needs of your child. Right now in each of our classrooms, you'll find a wide range of abilities. We have some working on letters and sounds, some beginning to recognize words, and some that are reading texts. In the junior kindergarten curriculum for English and language arts, we have a strong focus on phonemic awareness, which is hearing sounds and words, or manipulating those sounds. This is critical before children can begin to learn to read and write. One major area of focus in junior kindergarten is helping our students learn letters and sounds and the sounds that they make. Our curriculum provides daily practice with letters and sound recognition throughout our daily routines. Our curriculum is designed to be playful and engaging. If you were to walk into our rooms, you would see kids engaging with letters, playing rhyming games, and oftentimes you might even see them playing school with their peers. For writing, we begin to look at what writers and illustrators do through daily read-alouds. Then we begin expressing our thoughts and ideas through drawings. From there, we shift to adding letters and words to our drawings by labeling. As children are ready, we look at spacing between words, punctuation, and text features as we introduce sentence writing. At this point in the year, we have students who are drawing representational illustrations. Some are labeling their drawings with the sounds they hear in words, and some are beginning to write sentences. The joy of junior kindergarten is that it allows us to recognize that what the child can do and help each child move forward at their own pace. Now it's on to Sarah LaFontaine from Spring Mills to talk about our math curriculum.
Hi, I'm Sarah LaFontaine and I teach at Spring Mills Junior Kindergarten. And I'll go over a little bit about the math and what that looks like in junior kindergarten. You can see many of the concepts right on the slide. So for patterns, we're gonna look, does your child recognize a pattern? If I give them blocks or manipulatives, can they build their own pattern? If I start a pattern for them, are they able to extend that and tell me what comes next? Counting, we will count by tens to 100, which is exactly the same expectation as kindergarten. We will also count by ones. Our goal is to get to 30. I can tell you that most get much farther than that. In a kindergarten, their goal would be 100. So you can see same concepts, we just don't go possibly as far unless your child is ready for it. We want to have them be able to write all their numbers to 10 and then be able to put a quantity associated with that. So if I show them a 2, can they show me 2 objects? Can they write that 2? Can they sequence their numbers? And all of those things. In JK, we're going to focus on the basic shapes, and that is no different than kindergarten. They will add the 3D shapes in a traditional kindergarten. We'll talk about math concepts like greater than, less than, which is bigger, and things like that. If you want to go to the next slide, I'll go on to science in junior kindergarten. For science, we condense it a little bit, and we're going to focus just mainly on 3 units. Our 5 senses is basically, the starting point to all our units. So we're going to experience things hands-on and definitely through our senses. We have a living and a non-living unit, and we have a unit on safety that we just completed and how to be safe in severe weather and during fire and things like that. So we have a few less units in kindergarten, but as you see, all of our things are, still same kindergarten standards. So the main thing that you're going to hear with JK is that we're play-based, but I always like to point out that we play with a specific purpose, and our purpose is to get your child ready for kindergarten. It also may be that your child is coming to junior kindergarten, but they absolutely are academically ready for kindergarten. We know this past school year and maybe the end of last one might have not been the traditional experience you were hoping to give your child and maybe you chose to stay home and stay safer. So maybe you're looking at junior kindergarten thinking that they really haven't had a lot of experience with school. So junior kindergarten is a perfect place to offer that. So I will hand it over to Mrs. Borey.
Hi, everyone. Good evening. My name is Danielle Borey, and currently I teach junior kindergarten in the Virtual Academy. Last year, I did teach junior kindergarten at Oxbow Elementary. I'll talk to you a little bit about social studies. In junior kindergarten, we explore many social studies concepts. Junior kindergarten students learn how to be compassionate and caring individuals. They also recognize that each person is unique and we explore how that makes us special, and we recognize our differences as being a great thing. In JK's classroom, students learn what it means to follow rules, and we like to practice that so that we are getting ready for the next step of kindergarten. And in kindergarten classes, we may have more students, so it's good that they are learning how to follow out school rules and what it looks like to do that. Students and teachers discuss and practice how to appropriately act with others while in school. Lastly, we explore the world around us as we role play different careers. And in junior kindergarten, when we take a look at all of our social studies objectives, it's real nice because we get to explore different things and apply what we've learned in our playtime that we have in junior kindergarten. So next we have Lisa Sharp, who is also currently teaching junior kindergarten in the Huron Valley Virtual Academy.
Thanks, Danielle. Hi, I'm Lisa Sharp, and like Danielle said, I'm teaching junior kindergarten in the Virtual Academy. Last year, I taught kindergarten at Spring Mills, so I kind of have the best of both worlds, seeing it from the junior kindergarten perspective and the kindergarten perspective. So this slide is perfect for me to talk about. We are really proud of the gains the students make coming into the kindergarten classroom after they've had the junior kindergarten experience. Looking at this slide, you can see the academic achievement in the initial reading scores for our JK students. So they have learned those skills that they need in the traditional kindergarten classroom. So you can see the slide is broken down into three parts, and the Acadience is an initial screener that we use to assess a student's literacy skills. So you can see that our traditional kindergarten students versus the students who attended a junior kindergarten program. This slide data was taken in 2019, 2020, so pre-pandemic data. So I did just want to point that out. But the letter identification and the sound identification, those two numbers right there are a huge success. I have a student who is currently in junior kindergarten right now, my son, so I can see what kinds of things he's already learned and where he's going to be at when he's ready to start kindergarten next year in the traditional classroom. So these numbers really are telling for a student who needs that extra gift of time. And I am going to turn it over to Jennifer Kidd, who is the Director of Early Childhood Education at the Apollo Center.
Hi, everybody. Thank you, Lisa. I am charged with talking about different factors that should be considered when it comes to the best placement of your child, whether that be junior kindergarten, maybe you're on the fence between junior kindergarten and kindergarten. So when it comes to making that decision to enroll your child into junior kindergarten or kindergarten, there really are quite a few things to consider as you determine what the best placement for your child could be. So we know that making thoughtful decisions about placement helps to ensure not only a successful school experience, but it starts to build a strong foundation for our students to grow too. So we're awfully proud to be able to offer our junior kindergarten program here on Huron Valley Schools. When it comes to the target audience for really who our junior kindergarten program includes, we're really looking at children. We keep talking about this gift of time. So we're looking at children who need more time to develop their academic skill sets, more time to grow socially and emotionally, more time to work on that self-monitoring and regulation. And we know how important those fine and gross motor skills are for our littles. So that extra year really gives them time to focus in and like I said, hone in on building those skill sets. Junior kindergarten is also a wonderful year for students who have not had a preschool experience or who have had a very limited preschool experience. And then we've kind of mentioned this before, but also for children who have a birthday between September 2nd and December 1st. Now, there are lots of other things to note when it comes to determining what placement is best for your child, and it's not just age that determines that. And we're going to talk about that a little bit more in detail in our next couple of slides, but something important that I do want everybody to know, and I know we'll talk about it a little bit more later in the presentation, is all students, whether entering junior kindergarten or kindergarten, must be 5 years old on or before December 1st. So if your student has a birthday between September 2nd and December 1st of that same school year, he or she may enroll, but mom, dad, guardian, you're going to have to sign an age waiver. And we're going to talk a little bit more about that, but I want to put that on your radar now. If you're kind of on the fence about kindergarten, junior kindergarten, there are some scenarios and some traits that your child might display that may show that a kindergarten placement might be more appropriate for your child. So if we're talking about kindergarten versus junior kindergarten, an appropriate placement for your child in kindergarten might be if he or she has attended preschool. If he or she is eager to start school, can't wait to get out the door, wants to ride that bus. If he or she has the stamina to sustain more structured academic activities. So some examples that we often talk about at our kindergarten orientations. This list is not extensive. It's not like a box end all be all. But as you start to think about your placement, if you're still sitting on the fence with where your child should attend, think about some of these things. Can your child recognize their own name and print? Can he or she read books on a regular basis? And do they enjoy listening without being distracted? We've talked a lot about how we build that love for books here in our junior kindergarten program. How is your child when it comes to holding scissors? Can he or she hold scissors comfortably, write his or her name legibly, all of those sorts of things. When it comes to sitting on the rug, is your child comfortable with keeping hands and legs to self when sitting there on the ground? Does he or she understand when and how to appropriately make physical contact with others? All of those sorts of things. When we think about dressing independently, using the bathroom independently, if your child is able to follow simple directions, if these are traits or behaviors that your student is currently already displaying, a kindergarten placement might be most appropriate for your child as opposed to a junior kindergarten placement. If it comes to, if you're feeling like, nope, my child needs that extra gift of time, that extra year that we keep talking about, then a junior kindergarten placement might be appropriate. So maybe you're considering maybe your child will be experiencing school for the first time this fall. Maybe your child will turn 5 years old between that September 2nd and December date. Maybe they will benefit from the gift of time when it comes to school readiness. And that could be, they need that opportunity to thrive in an extra year of a play-based curriculum. They need that extra time to really set their skill set just to follow those simple directions or to grow socially and emotionally. There's a lot of growth that happens with maturity in an extra year. And then academically, just to increase interest in recognizing letters and numbers or reading, to build that confidence like we talked about earlier. So it's important to remember that students, we've talked about this too, the students enrolled in our junior kindergarten program, they will enjoy a full day, 5-day kindergarten experience, but they get to do it for 2 years. And what a beautiful gift that is. If by chance your student is not eligible and doesn't meet the age requirements for junior kindergarten or kindergarten, we have the beauty of housing all of our preschool programs here at the Apollo Center. And we may have some options for you and your family. So we do offer fee-based preschool options for 3- and 4-year-olds, as well as the Great Start Readiness program for all of our 4-year-olds. So if you would like information, feel free to give us a buzz. I'm going to put my plug in here. We love to answer questions. We'd be happy to answer your questions. So give us a call. Our number is 248-684-8040. So with that, I'm going to turn it back over to Mr. Tavernier, who will be talking about the logistics of our junior kindergarten program.
Jennifer, thanks so much. Appreciate that. And thanks to each of our teachers this evening for joining us and talking to us in more detail about the curriculum and the activities and the things that our kids experience in the JK program. It was great to be able to hear and see and meet each of you this evening. So thank you for that. As Jennifer mentioned, we want to spend a little bit of time talking about the logistics and sort of the enrollment process. And I'm sure you have a lot of questions about that and what that looks like. So hopefully you found some of the information already on our website, with the link to tonight's presentation. But I'm going to ask Cindy Housel to share a little bit of information about the enrollment process. Cindy is our supervisor of pupil services. So Cindy.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. Junior kindergarten students must be 5 years old by December 1st of this year. Students with the birthday of September 2nd through December 1st, 2016 will need to complete an age waiver. Our class size maximum for each section of our junior kindergarten will be 20 students. If interest exceeds availability, we will proceed with a lottery. We encourage anyone interested in our JK program to visit our website to complete the junior kindergarten inquiry form. To get to that form, go to hvs.org, Parents, Enrollment, Junior Kindergarten. Once our office receives your inquiry, we will send you to an email to confirm receipt to give you additional enrollment information. While our office is collecting all of the inquiries, we encourage you to go to the HVS website to visit and look around at hvs.org. We will be contacting everyone regarding program placement sometime this spring. In the meantime, mark your calendar for the virtual kindergarten orientation that is going to be held on March 18th. And finally, don't hesitate to reach out to our office, Pupil Services, at 248-676-8431. And with that, I'm going to hand it over to Mrs. Bjorkman, who is the Director of State and Federal Programs.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for being here. And I just want to kind of give you some information from our JK families and from our JK teachers to help you with your decision making. So this is kind of a little bit about what do our parents say about junior kindergarten, and here's what we have. So Mrs. Jamie Felt said junior kindergarten for her child was such a wonderful, much needed experience. She saw her child grow in all developmental areas and find a love for school. Teresa Jambeck, JK was the best decision we've made so far for our son. And then Carolyn Black May, with the new state standards for kindergarten, junior kindergarten was the perfect play-based curriculum for my son. So now that we have some thoughts from our families, from our families, let's look at what our teachers have to say about the junior kindergarten program. Mrs. Rosing, who is a kindergarten teacher at Country Oaks, she noticed that JK gives our students the confidence they have so they can work independently that first day of kindergarten. So that gift of time, when they walk in the door for kindergarten, they are ready and ready to just jump right into learning. Lisa Anderson, who is also a kindergarten teacher, notices that students who attended JK, students are very well prepared, comfortable, and confident for kindergarten. They are strong in their letter identification and sound identification, which Miss Lisa Sharp shared earlier with us today, so we could see the data on how successful our JK students are once they go to kindergarten. And finally, I believe this was Mrs. Shurian said, as a teacher in the junior kindergarten program, I've enjoyed watching our young students grow socially, emotionally, and academically, all while teaching under the philosophy that children learn best through play. So play is our brain's favorite way of learning, and we thought our favorite way to share what the JK experience is like for our students is to have a former student share her experience with JK. So we're going to welcome our JK student, former JK student, now in second grade, and she's going to share with you what JK is all about.
Hi, my name is Anna and I'm in second grade now. But I want to tell you about when I was back in junior kindergarten. In junior kindergarten, I got to ride the bus to school and see my teacher every day. She was so nice. At school, we played lots of games, read books together, and learned new things. We even went to art, gym, and music. Sometimes I got to use a computer. And we played outside on the playground almost every day. I loved junior kindergarten. My mom said I was learning so much, but I was just having fun. If you want to go to junior kindergarten, ask your mom and dad to visit hvs.org.
So as we're wrapping up our evening time together, we want to thank you for joining us. We look forward to having you join our junior kindergarten and our Huron Valley family in the fall. What we'd like to do now is take some of your questions. I've been kind of moderating the chat, so I'm going to ask our group. I think this question is probably for Mrs. Housel. It's from Amber. The question is, how do we know if we are choosing correctly between JK and K? So I'm guessing this might be on the registration form.
So on the inquiry form, they are signing up for junior kindergarten, and they will receive an email back from us directing them to the website for new student online enrollment. There is not a section for them to check junior kindergarten. It is kindergarten, so that's what they will choose. But we are in close communication back and forth with these parents. So if they are choosing junior kindergarten through the inquiry form, we'll make sure that they are accurately placed.
Thank you, Cindy. We also had a question from Michelle, and this question I think is for junior kindergarten teachers. Do kids take naps in junior kindergarten? So Meredith, it looks like you're going to answer for the group.
Yeah, I can answer. The beginning of the school year, they are completely wiped out. So we do give them an opportunity to lay down and rest with a little bit of quiet music. My particular classroom and a few others may bring a towel to lay on. We rest 15 to 30 minutes. And then eventually throughout the school year, they wean out of it and they no longer need it. And then we can begin building up their stamina for the afternoon as well. Because kindergarten, they only get a short, quiet, maybe 10 to 15 minutes. So hopefully we'll get them out of that and they'll be all ready for kindergarten.
Thanks, Meredith. We also had a couple questions on the same topic about class size from Katie and Ryan. Maybe John, you want to jump in and answer this one for us? It says, what is the class size? And is it different than the traditional K class? And the other part of the question is there more than one section for JK or 20 altogether? 20 students altogether.
Yep, those are great questions. So we do have a lower class size in the JK. We do max out at 20 students in our JK classrooms. Our kindergarten, our traditional kindergarten classrooms can be a little bit larger, up to 27 students. So again, we recognize for our junior kindergarten, they definitely benefit from that smaller class size. As far as the number of sections, so we have had in a few of our buildings, if we have enough interest in a building, we will run a second section of junior kindergarten in a building. If again, it's based on enrollment and interest. So it is possible that we could have more than one section of JK in a building.
Thank you, John. We have another question regarding from Loved D is the question. In the instance a child starts JK and the teacher feels that they are excelling, would they move the child over to kindergarten? We have a JK teacher who wants to answer that one, or I can answer. So typically we take each child where they are. So we know many children come in at different levels in junior kindergarten and in kindergarten. And typically we have some readers who come into JK, and we just keep taking students from where they are to the next level. We do not typically have families asking students to be moved out of junior kindergarten, but we always welcome the conversation and want to do what's best for your child. So we will work with you and the school teams to determine what is the best placement should that happen. Anyone else? Did I get it? All right. Amanda Boatwright had the question of when does JK start? JK starts on the first day of school, just like all other students. In the past, we have had kind of a slower start for our junior kindergarten and kindergarten due to the pandemic this year. It was a little bit different. So we will just know you will be starting on the first day of school with all students, and more information will come as we get closer to that date.
Yeah, I was just going to add, Jennifer, people may be wondering what is the first day of school in the fall, and we haven't named that yet. So that has not been announced. We'll be getting that information posted as soon as we have that available.
And this one might be for Cindy or for John. What is the average age, or the teachers, you might know, what is the average age of a junior kindergarten student and compared to students in kindergarten? A little tricky.
I can take that one. Most of our kiddos who are in our classes for junior kindergarten have a birthday from September to December. So they're turning 5 in that time frame. So versus compared to kindergarten, say if your child, if you do choose kindergarten and your child turns 5 in that range in those months, they would be one of the younger students in kindergarten. But if you do go to JK and you turn 5 in junior kindergarten, once you get to kindergarten, you'll turn 6 and your child will be one of the oldest in that class.
Meredith?
We have had several summer birthdays or even May birthdays. And that's typically what we've seen in the past is students who just really needed that emotional and social learning support, which was critical for their success in kindergarten.
Jen Kidd, we have a question about school age care and can junior kindergarten students attend? Absolutely. We don't have all of the details for next year solidified quite yet, but when we do, we will be publishing all of that information, rates, dates, everything on our Apollo website. So if you head to hbs.org and click on Apollo, there's a drop down for school age care, and it gives all of the information. And yes, junior kindergarten students are eligible. And we had a question from Katie. Do students receive ancillary services if needed? Sarah, do you want to answer that one for us?
Sure, I can answer that. Yes, especially if like we've had ones coming over for Apollo. So if they receive speech or OT, those are all the same services that we have in our building, and that will just continue on just like it always has. So yes, we do have students who receive those.
And then we have a question from Amanda. Is there after school care, and do they ride the bus, or is transportation required? So we do offer after school care in our school age care programs. This year, we have not been able to offer it at every building. We've had some staffing challenges. We're still working through what that might look like next year. Again, I'll steal Mr. Tavernier's language. We haven't quite named that yet, but we're working on it. But we do offer before and after school age care. And transportation is offered for students who live in the attendance area of the school. So if you live in the Kurtz attendance area, if Kurtz was a school age care or a JK choice, the bus would provide transportation there. If you are outside of the attendance area, transportation would be required by the family. The next question from Amy is, will we be accepting JK students who are enrolling with school of choice? Cindy?
Absolutely. We're taking those applications right now, and we will be more than happy to take people who are out of our district who want to come attend junior kindergarten with us. Just fill out a form as soon as possible and get on the list, and we'll be more than happy to help you out.
John, this question is for you from Lindsay Robbins. When will we know which schools will be housing junior kindergarten next year?
Yep, another great question. So as Cindy mentioned earlier, we are collecting interest and applications for our JK program. When you fill out that paperwork, the question will be your first choice for location and second choice. And based on that information, we really look at providing a JK program in every building that we can where space is available, but also it's the decision is based on enrollment, based on interest. So we typically will, and Cindy and her team will be reaching out to those that are interested probably around the end of March to finalize those locations. And we would hope to confirm with everybody where those locations are sometime in early April.
And we have another question. How do we know which elementary school your student is to attend if you're in close proximity to 2 elementary schools? Cindy, do you want to give some advice on that?
Call our office, or you can go out to the HVS website and look up. We have a street guide that by your address, you're able to look it up and see what your neighborhood school is. We have a district that's fairly large in area, and those lines get pretty tricky. So if you're ever unsure, just reach out to us at 248-676-8431, and we'll be happy to answer that question if you're still in doubt.
Our last question today is, will there be a virtual academy junior kindergarten offering?
I can speak to that.
Okay.
Again, we do have enrollment opportunity. That really is going to come down to interest. So if we have enough students that are interested in junior kindergarten in our virtual academy, it would be something we offer. But we do need a minimum enrollment in order to offer that program. So again, based on interest, we may offer that program. We did have, as you heard earlier, junior kindergarten offered this year in our virtual academy.
And we did have another question from First Sip. Is there any possibility that a student who enrolls in kindergarten but the teachers and parents feel they are a better fit for junior kindergarten during the school year? So I think the question is, if a student enrolls in kindergarten and then during the course of the year, the parents and the family determine that the child might be a better fit for kindergarten. Any teacher want to help us with that? Meredith?
On a few occasions, we have had that discussion. It does go through a team at school to help make that decision. A team of staff members, including the principal, a school psychologist, classroom teachers. So it's well thought out, and yes, it has happened on occasion.
Thanks, Meredith. And then from Bonnie, if my child has not been in a daycare or preschool program, but is ready for JK, what do you suggest that I would do to prepare him for spending a full day in school? Lisa?
I can speak to that. JK or K in general, getting them ready to be independent. So things like packing a backpack, zipping and unzipping a coat, or buttoning and unzipping their pants, practicing opening their containers for lunches, simple things that you might take for granted as a parent, like that you do for them because it's just easier. I'm guilty of it with my son. I'm just going to do it because it's easier. But things like that, practice having a lunch, pack their lunch in a lunch bag and have them eat their lunch. A lot of times the kids will come home with an entire lunch bag full of their food because they were busy talking at lunch instead of actually eating their lunch. So, you only have this amount of time, so you go outside and play at recess. holding a pencil, holding scissors, gluing, those kinds of things would be appropriate. But their basic needs that they need to get through the day, washing their hands, a lot of washing their hands, especially now. Those things will help them be ready for the day.
And as I always like to say, just keep reading to your children and read. That always builds that love of learning right from the get-go. We had another question from Jillian Parsons. Her question was, because of COVID, have we found more parents sending their 5-year-olds to junior kindergarten over kindergarten? I'm not sure we have the answer for that. At this time, I don't know if we have enough data to support that. We might see. Meredith, did you want to?
Our classrooms are about the same size this year with kindergarten. So 16 and 15, I think, that we're looking at with junior kindergarten and kindergarten. So I think parents were erring on the side of caution, at least in our building.
We'll probably know more in the next couple of years as we start to see some trends over time with students. We have a question from Mr. Scholdeis. My daughter attends JK and a great comment for us. Thanks, Jim. My daughter attends JK and it was the best decision we could have made for her. The teachers are wonderful and provide her everything she needs. We love it. Such a wonderful program. So kudos to our JK teachers right here for all of your hard work. And thank you, Mr. Scholdeis, for that fantastic comment. We want to thank everyone for being here tonight. If you're finding that you still have questions that weren't answered, please feel free to reach out to us and we will be more than happy to answer questions. Just a reminder to visit our website at hvs.org, and under the Parents tab, there is enrollment information and junior kindergarten information. And if you have questions, everything you need to know is there, and there's contact information should you have further questions. And also just a reminder that our virtual kindergarten orientations will be held on March 18th at 6:30. So please plan to attend those events as well, so you can learn more about our programming in Huron Valley and in all of our schools specifically. So thank you all for joining us. Thank you for being patient through our virtual presentation, and we look forward to meeting you all soon. Have a great night.